What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into this video. I'm excited, but I'm a little bit nervous to kind of disclose everything. I have my notes here because I am an amateur YouTuber, so bear with me. We're going to jump right into it, just like the title says. I've been fired from my first 2 junior developer jobs. I want to put this video out there, hoping it will help somebody. I want to provide some content that'll be useful, and I want to do it in a way where I'm not blaming anyone because I want to take full responsibility, but I also don't want to make myself look like the biggest idiot in the world. I'm just a normal guy that spontaneously got into the software development industry. It's not easy, okay? It's a really complex industry, and I'm doing my best. So bear with me through my crappy YouTube. Yeah, so let's jump into it. I knew nothing about coding this day 2 years ago. I've just been doing my best to try and figure it out. After I had signed up for this coding bootcamp, this is real life. I actually did this. I signed up, I paid, and then I went on to Google Images and Googled computer code, just so I could see what I was getting into. So just know that that's where I was coming from. I didn't know anything about computer code before I signed up. I didn't even own a computer. Okay, I got my first laptop a week before class started. I didn't know what computer code was, and I didn't have a computer, and here I am going into a computer coding bootcamp. Based off of what you just heard, you can probably guess that things were rough. Things were really, really rough for me, and I struggled more than almost anyone else in the entire class. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare because, like I said, I kind of spontaneously jumped into it. I wanted to get into the next class that was coming up. It was a few weeks away. I got in just right before the deadline, and I struggled. The class was so discouraging, to say the least. It was hands down one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life. Before I got into the class, as I was going through the class, I did exactly what some of you guys are doing right now. I was getting onto YouTube, and I was just trying to find every piece of information I could find. I watched so many different videos about what it's like to go through a coding bootcamp. I came across a video by John Sonmez, I believe is his name. Some of you guys have probably seen his videos. In his video, I watched a particular video by him where he talks about coding bootcamp versus self-taught versus college degree, which one's better. I'm sure you guys have seen that video or other videos just like it. What he says is if he were to go back and start over, he would go to a coding bootcamp and he would prepare so much up front. He would work harder than everyone else. He would prepare harder than everyone else to make sure that he came out of the class number 1, to make sure he was the number 1 student in the whole class. And that is the smartest thing that you can do. I agree with that 1,000,000,000,000%. That's the best thing you can do. However, that wasn't me, okay? I'll be honest, that was not me. I felt like I tried as hard as I could. I tried to be the best. I showed up before everyone. I stayed after everyone. I worked hard, but still I struggled. I struggled all the way through the whole class, and I was not the number 1 student. I wish I was the number 1 student because I look at who those students were in my class. The kids and the people in my class that were the number 1 students, some of them got jobs the day that we graduated. They were good. They were nice, high-paying jobs at well-respectable companies. These people, they went through it, they got these jobs. That wasn't me. You know, I'll admit, I wish it was, but it wasn't. That was not me. The class itself was hard, and I, like I've said 1,000 times, I struggled. Okay, my personal project hardly even worked. It looked like ass. It passed all the requirements. I passed it off. I got the points and everything, but it was garbage. Our group project, basically the code that I wrote, hardly any of the code that I wrote even made it into the final production. I had some wizard kid on my team, and he would stay up all night just basically replacing everybody's code. So I pretty much didn't even do a group project. So it was really discouraging, you know, like what's a guy supposed to do? So after like class got out, I saw all these people, they were getting jobs. I'll admit I was really scared. I was really scared to get a job. Because I was scared to get a job, in my mind, I thought it was going to be a good idea to try and find a job in a non-traditional way. Even though the school I went to, it prepared me to get a job. We got LinkedIn set up, we got resumes set up, Indeed.com, Glassdoor.com, basically they're like mass blast your resume, keep doing that, you'll get yourself a job. I struggle with interviews, I struggle with coding challenges, so I started to reach out to friends and family and other developers because I live in a place where there's a lot of tech jobs out there. So I was like, through my connections, I'll be able to find myself a job, which I did. I've been able to find myself some jobs through that. And to summarize my entire junior developer job, I've been fired from both jobs I've had. So to summarize this entire video, I'm a struggling developer. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I've spent all this money, all this time. I've been coding for 2 years. I don't know what I'm doing. Is it worth it? Has everything I've been through worth it? I will say, yes, 100% of the time. I'm still new to this entire industry, and I feel like there's a million things that I can say that frustrates me about code and software and the industry and just everything about it. There's a lot of bad things that can be said about it, but they will never outweigh the pros. When we weigh the pros and cons, the pros are always more than the downside. Everything I've been through, I've been fired from 2 jobs, and it's still been worth it. Although I've been fired from the only 2 jobs that I've had, it's been worth it for a lot of reasons. I mentioned in my last video when I got, the last video that I came out with about a year ago, where I was talking about how I got a job and I was really excited. I got fired from that job. Company straight up just fired me. It's still been worth it. Or I mentioned in my last video that the job that I had was paying me almost double what I was making before I got into coding. I will say that I was working a pretty crappy job before, and so doubling it is not super impressive. But for me, it's been awesome. And then once I got fired, got let go, whatever you want to call it, at that job, my second job was paying me 25% higher than my first job. So now I'm making way more money than I'd made before. I kind of knew right away that the job that I was getting into was out of my league. I was struggling, it was hard, but I tried my best. I held on and I tried to learn. I did everything I could, but because I knew it was kind of a sketchy job, I saved a lot of the money, and I used all the money that I earned. I paid off my school debt. I paid off the money that I spent to go through the course because I didn't have a job while I was going through it. I paid off a huge portion of my car. And so to be 100%, this moment right now, I'm broke as shit right now, and I will admit that to whoever watches this video. But because I was in the coding world, I was able to pay off everything that got me into it. School paid off, debt paid off, car mostly paid off, which that wasn't possible before I went through and learned how to code. Although making money has been really exciting, learning how to code has been so much more exciting than making this money. I've enjoyed making more money than I've made before, but learning how to code has been so worth it. Even though, I get down on myself all the time. I tell myself I'm the worst developer in the world. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I've been fired from 2 of my jobs. People don't want to hire me. They act like they want to, then they see my code and they don't. It's discouraging, but it's been worth it. I came out with a video 2 years ago before I go through the class. And I reiterate a few of the things I said. I'm going through a boot camp. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know code. And in the video, it's been a year since I've watched the video, or it's been 2 years since I've watched the video. I haven't watched it since it came out because it's so cringy, and I apologize. I struggled for 10 days. I mentioned that in my video. I've been working on this for 10 days and it's the hardest thing I've ever done. If I were to take that same assignment and do it now, I could do it in just a couple hours. I know for a fact I could do it with ease, and that's exciting. Clearly I've learned something, okay? There's things that I never thought I would understand, I finally understand. So I'm not a master developer by any means. I'm still an awful junior developer, but there's still a lot that I do know. I will admit that I'm scared to find a job. I've been fired from both my jobs and I'm scared to get a new one. I ask myself like every single day, is this for me? Is this something that I want to do? Every single day I can find it within me to keep going. I'm an awful developer, but I'm going to keep on going because it's something that I actually do enjoy doing. I'll admit I'm scared to go back out and start applying for jobs. I just feel like I'm terrible at code in general, and I don't really know what I'm going to do. As of this moment right now, I'm unemployed, and it's kind of like a toss-up. Do I want to continue? Do I want to go down the path and keep applying for developer jobs? Or do I want to possibly do something and start working for myself? That's probably been one of the best parts of the entire experience, is the position that I'm in to start working for myself now. I'm now in a position where I truly feel like I can work for myself. And this isn't any of like that BS crap that you see on YouTube ads where you can be your own boss and make $10 trillion. Going through a coding bootcamp has given me an actual skill, okay? I may not be able to build a final product, but I can develop some kind of little software, some kind of little app, some kind of little program, and then find other developers to kind of join in, and we can build this into something. Or it seems like everybody wants to be a DJ, everybody wants to be a yoga teacher. All these people need websites. So maybe I'll just go down that path and start building websites for people. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I'll come out with a follow-up video. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about applying for junior dev jobs. Maybe I'll talk about freelancing. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. As of this moment right now, I really have no idea like what's in store for my future. Am I going to go down the path of applying for dev jobs, or am I going to try freelancing, building custom web pages for people? I really don't want to have a job, I'll admit. I've always wanted to work for myself. That's kind of what got me into this industry. But I also, there's still so much that I need to learn. It feels like the more I learn about coding, the less I know. It's such a crazy world that, for a guy like me, it's hard to pick up. But I'm doing my best. Whether I apply for dev jobs or I go down the freelance road, I think those are going to be some future videos, some things that I want to talk about. To summarize the entire video, coding is hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Most days I feel like an idiot. Some days I feel like a wizard. When it's all said and done, it's been worth it. If you are considering going to a coding bootcamp, I say do it. Take John Sonmez's advice and try and be the #1 student. If you can do that, your world will change in so many ways. Even if you're at the bottom of the class like I am, my life has been blessed because I went to a coding bootcamp. So when it's all said and done, yes, it's been worth it. It's been an awesome experience. Lots of ups, lots of downs, but I'm more up than I was when I got started. I appreciate you guys watching. If you think I'm the biggest idiot in the world, if you think I'm not meant for coding, give this video a thumbs down. Go ahead, downvote me into oblivion. If you get it, if you understand the struggle, if you guys want to hear more from me, give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. I'm not a real YouTuber. It's something that I want to take more seriously because I know there's a lot of people, especially with what's been going on in the world, there's a lot of people that want to get into a coding bootcamp. If you feel like you're not going to be a #1 student, you can tune into my videos and see how I turn out. Maybe don't take my advice, take the advice of the #1 students, but at least you can see what I've gone through. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.